Welcome back, everybody, to another podcast, a very exciting podcast, as it'll be diving into a topic of much debate that will occur over the next few months leading into the 2021 college football season. Big Ten schedules were just announced. We're not going to talk about that, though. It's time to talk about the Michigan quarterback situation. And Michigan, obviously, last year had a very dismal year, disappointing to say the least. 2-4, didn't play a lot of games, had COVID issues, didn't play Iowa, Ohio State at the end of the year, and really struggled the entire season. And the main position, the quarterback position, was really not settled throughout last year. And hopefully next season that will be settled. And we're going to talk about who the options are for Michigan going into 2021 at the quarterback position. There are three main ones. I'm going to start with Joe Milton. Joe Milton, obviously, last year, for those who have paid attention to Michigan football, took on the starting role after the transfer from Dylan McCaffrey to Nebraska. Joe Milton, huge guy, 6'5", 240. He is a gun, an absolute cannon of an arm, and decently mobile in the pocket. Looked great in the first game of the season against Minnesota. I mean, Michigan won that game 49-21. Things were looking up for the program. We made a video that night, and I think everyone thought that Michigan was the top 15 team in the country. But Joe Milton cratered after that, immediately losing to Michigan State and other games after that, and eventually being benched in the Rutgers game against McNamara. And Milton was bad-mouthing the team after the season, or during the season, actually, against Rutgers, trash-talking Jim Harbaugh. He thought he was being put in a bad position by the Michigan coaching staff. Who knows if that's true? What I do know is what I watched, and Milton was inconsistent, to say the least. Made a number of horrendous throws, just completely blind in the pocket, no awareness whatsoever. Took sacks when he couldn't take sacks, and just threw too many interceptions, too many mistimed, inaccurate throws. He had a habit for overthrowing players because of his arm. Didn't have much touch on the ball. He has the tools. No one's saying he doesn't. But he doesn't seem to have the attitude or, I guess, the touch to be a great quarterback in college football. Now, I was surprised he didn't transfer, but he has not transferred yet, so he's still on the roster. That's why I started by talking about Joe. Let's move on now to the incoming freshman. Everyone excited about J.J. McCaffrey, IMG Academy's finest, from Nazareth in Illinois originally. This dude is hopefully the savior of the quarterback position for Michigan. Under Jim Harbaugh's tenure, Michigan has not once had a great quarterback. There have been good quarterbacks. Jake Krudock, Wilton Spate was decent, but Michigan has not had a top quality quarterback in a long time. I would date that back to Denard Robinson, maybe even before Denard Robinson, because it's been a while. Shea Patterson wasn't it, obviously. Michigan didn't do so well under him. So it's been a long time. J.J. McCarthy, he's the real deal. He's a mature dude. He's been strongly committed to Michigan for a while. He didn't back down after a tough season. Hopefully this is the answer. Jim Harbaugh seems to think so. And J.J. McCarthy is clearly an extremely talented player. Do I think he'll be the starter immediately next year? I don't think he'll be the starter next year. And this is hard because he's the most talented player on the Michigan depth chart at quarterback, but he's a freshman. He's an incoming freshman. There's an experienced player that I will talk about next that is currently on the roster and who deserves a shot at starting at quarterback for Michigan next year. That's McNamara. J.J. McCarthy is great, and he will start very soon, but he's not going to be starting after no time with the program, with COVID going on. I think J.J. McCarthy gets at least a few games. Let McNamara prove himself before handing the reins over to J.J. And I think J.J. McCarthy is the quarterback of the future for Michigan. That does not mean he'll be starting next season. Now, everyone thinks that J.J. McCarthy will be ready, and he might be, but McNamara, whose highlights are on screen right now, I think will be starting at Michigan quarterback next fall. And that doesn't mean I have the utmost confidence in Cade. That does mean that I think that he gives Michigan, he's the most experienced player on Michigan's roster. He had a good attitude last season, came in for Joe Milton in the Rutgers game, and as you can see, led Michigan to a victory when the defense was playing horribly. He's the best shot for immediate success next season, and he's also deserves it the most, I think. You got to give it. There's something to be said about sticking it out a year under tough conditions and working your butt off, doing the little things right, which is what Cade McNamara did. And I don't think Jim Harbaugh's looking to hand the reins right over to a freshman like J.J. McCarthy, a true freshman. That doesn't mean that if Cade struggles, Harbaugh won't potentially bench him. But really, last season was more about injuries than Cade McNamara struggling. In the games he looked healthy in, Michigan's offense looked good in. Now, I don't know how that'll translate next year. I do know that in high school in Nevada, he was an insanely talented guy. He passed for tons of yards. He threw tons of touchdowns. And he's relatively mobile. So Cade McNamara is a decent quarterback, a 4-star guy. I mean, there's nothing to be messed with here. And he's pretty young as well. So give him a shot next season. I think 2022 is J.J. McCarthy's time. For now, Cade McNamara. That's the answer, I think. And I think a lot of people won't like to hear that. A lot of people will be bored by that. But J.J. McCarthy will have to wait a little bit longer. The J.J. McCarthy madness will start in 2022, hopefully. And that's the video, guys. It's just a short one, just who I think will be starting based on what I've seen, based on Jim Harbaugh himself, who always gives the benefit of the doubt to the older guy. So yeah, J.J. McCarthy's an exciting guy. Don't get me wrong, and I'll talk more about him in upcoming videos. But for now, Cade McNamara will be starting in 2021 at Michigan. Thanks for watching. Brad's going to come out with some bangers soon, so keep an eye out for that. And see you guys later.